This'll be a treat, David. We're gonna go island hopping.
I hate flying.
You're gonna love it, I promise.
Hallmark Entertainment presents the story of two brothers and their incredible journey to a world lost in time. A mysterious and exotic new land where magic happens every day and the impossible is possible.
What is this place?
Dinotopia.
Dinotopia is so huge.
It's massive and biblical.
Because of magical fairy tale story.
I'd love to visit there.
The whole feeling of Dinotopia is unreal.
Riding dinosaurs, working with dinosaurs, having them in libraries as professors. What a wonderful idea.
Hello, I'm Zippo. Welcome to the making of Dinotopia. You are about to go on an adventure behind the scenes of the most ambitious movie ever made for television. Our story begins almost 10 years ago.
James Gurney wrote a book, and he tried to design a world where dinosaurs and humans are happily living together.
Contrary to typical dinosaur adventure stories, Dinotopia envisioned a world of utter amazement in which humans and dinosaurs cohabitate as equals.
I wanted to explore the other side of things. What would it be like to have a giant friend?
For me to adapt that to film was a great challenge, and nobody ever did interaction between dinosaurs and humans.
All the creatures in Dinotopia are based on actual scientific fossils.
The dinosaurs themselves are accurately drawn. They're backed up by actual skeletons, actual remains.
Once it was determined that a live-action Dinotopia film, however challenging, was possible, the next task was to create a compelling script.
What was interesting to me about James Gurney's books is that they were full of the most incredible detail, and it really looks at the conflicts within them and what happens as they start to believe that, in the end, there is something to this world and that being a Dinotopian is something perhaps worth going for.
Think about it, Carl. Don't you see that something absolutely amazing has happened to us?
Simon Moore's script tells the story of two contemporary American teenage brothers, shipwrecked in Dinotopia.
I play a guy named Carl Scott. He's rebellious.
Carl, that is unnecessary destruction of public property. And that is not how stegosauruses reproduce.
He's obnoxious. Wow, how'd you square a babe like that? He's struggling, I think, with everything he encounters. You know, he ends up on this island and learn how to live amongst the dinosaurs and the Dinotopians. And his thought process doesn't work that way. Look, I can't do schools, never have. You know, it's all about Carl and, you know, what he wants, and he wants to get off the island.
Why don't you stop being so selfish and at least get to know this place before you condemn it? My character's name is David Scott. My character's a little bit bookish. He's just fascinated by this civilization. I mean, everything is totally new to him, just dinosaurs that can speak and the fact that humans are riding dinosaurs.
David, what's wrong?
It's the height! I think I'm having a panic attack! In learning these various skills and becoming more confident in himself physically, he becomes a more confident person.
There she is. Come on, boys.
She must be crazy.
I play Marion, who is the daughter of the mayor of Waterfall City. She's an only child. Her father's very much into the pomp and ceremony, and her mother's sort of like an earth mother, so she's kind of torn between the two of them. If you're in such harmony, then why do you live 100 miles away from each other?
Thank you, Mayor. I have news of the utmost importance.
Zippo is definitely the smartest dinosaur in Dinotopia, and the most clumsy dinosaur, which makes him the most lovable dinosaur.
No. It's perfectly all right. It was completely my fault.
The vision behind Dinotopia creates a world of magic and wonder in which humans and dinosaurs coexist as equals. In the miniseries, this spirit is embodied in the talking dinosaur character of Zippo.
I just love the way you eat with your little knife and fork, cutting up all the food first. I mean, it's so funny.
When we talk about dinosaurs, usually our first image is of enormous creatures who move very slowly. So what I wanted to do was, in that world where you thought you knew the dinosaurs, to suddenly introduce this new dinosaur who didn't have the characteristics we expected, but was very inquisitive and very anxious, perhaps even neurotic.
What if the most terrible thing has happened? A book has been... I can't bring myself to use the word. A book has been stolen.
His role is definitely pivotal because he interacts with all of us, which makes him, I guess, the star of Dinotopia, really.
Not all of Dinotopia's magic was created by computers. A born scene stealer was hatched with the very real character of 26.
Everyone had fallen in love with her. I mean, there was pandemonium on the set, but when she tried to get out of her egg, I got so excited that I don't think the take is usable, actually.
26 is so lifelike, it is said that children visiting the set were apprehensive to go near her. But she is, in fact, a highly sophisticated animatronic created by the Jim Henson Creature Shop.
She features in quite a bit of the storyline. She's very cute, as you can see. The skin is made of urethane. It's very fleshy, very realistic. Well, whoever's holding her actually has control over her main head movements, as I'm doing here now. Everything else is controlled by two other people who are on modified radio control transmitters with special controls here.
All those scenes were very real for me. I became very attached to her.
The story of Dinotopia is truly amazing. Whereas fate would have it, two brothers, Carl and David, survive a plane crash in the ocean, only to wash ashore on Dinotopia. Little do they know that they are about to embark on the adventure of their life.
Despite the wonder of this amazing newfound place, Carl and David find themselves trapped in a world they cannot leave. They quickly learn that life in Dinotopia is far different from what they were accustomed to.
Zippo has kindly agreed to give you temporary accommodation in his house.
Yes.
You mean we're staying with a
Librarian.
Right, librarian.
Your past life is gone.
But I'm not a Dinotopian, and I don't want to become one, okay?
In the face of their new life, the brothers find themselves torn between different desires.
The more I listen to you, the more I think you want to stay here.
Of course I want to go home, but we don't know how to right now. We should be exploring and seeing things that no one's ever seen before. See what life is like here.
Maybe that's because you don't have a life back home.
Carl and David quickly realize that survival depends on their learning to abide by a new set of rules, practiced for generations in a culture not their own.
Do you intend to eat our food?
Yeah, I guess.
Then you'll help us make it. You'll remain here and train in the hatchery.
This one's yours.
What do you mean, mine?
She thinks you're her mommy.
David, you'll undergo Skybacks training in Canyon City.
Are you sure?
Yes.
You're not really joining the Skybacks, are you?
Don't worry, I'll look after David.
In this strange new land, Carl and David encounter new challenges.
Both brothers fall in love with her, and Carl has this sort of macho, good-looking thing going for him, but David has a sensitive, intellectual side that he can offer. I think I'm falling in love with you.
David is kind of more studious, and I think he's shyer, and he's jealous of his brother. I love you both.
Did you hear that? She loves us both.
She was looking at me when she said it. I think Carl likes to instigate those kind of things, you know, and it draws more attention to him.
How have you managed to cause so much trouble in such a short time?
It's a skill, honed over a lifetime.
After learning the ways of the new world, the brothers find themselves at the center of a struggle for the very survival of Dinotopia.
This is the most powerful sunstone ever found. It's what powers the whole of Dinotopia.
Sunstones fail.
Without the prime sunstone, all the others will fail.
We must make an expedition to the world beneath to find new sunstones.
Seems like the temple in the swamp.
We must go back there. That's where the sunstones will be, I'm sure of it.
Against overwhelming odds, Carl and David embark on a treacherous search for the source of Dinotopia's power, the precious sunstones. This dangerous expedition leads them into the forbidden world beneath. The amazing journey takes them on a mystical adventure through tropical jungles, desert plains, troubled waters, and into secret caves. What they discover in their search leaves them changed forever.
Come on, you can make it.
Throughout their journey, Carl and David are confronted by obstacles and face new challenges in order to save a land on the brink of disaster.
In order to bring Dinotopia to you in its full splendor, hundreds of hard-working individuals created the most impressive set imaginable, like Waterfall City.
When I first walked on the set, I mean, it was massive. I realized then just how large this undertaking was.
It's huge, and when we designed it, we always had to think that there's a dinosaur will walk through these gates.
The production was such a massive undertaking, just trying to conceive how it would be done turned out to be a challenge.
So we started to think about how big this stuff had to be. Instead of going up 2 stories or 3 stories, we were talking about going up 40, 50, 60 feet just to cover a shot of a dinosaur.
It was a nightmare.
It took an army of carpenters and painters, plasterers, set dressers, and prop stylists to build Waterfall City.
In one area, you'd have painters, working, and then you'd look over the other way, and there'd be a huge, 200-foot crane, working on putting up steel structure. It was pretty amazing, I have to say, what we did there.
Dinosaur was dead off millions of years ago.
If only, my boy, if only.
In order to represent the scale that James Gurney originally envisioned, the filmmakers relied on computer-generated models as a pre-visualization tool.
What we did on this project, which we've never done before, was to take a computer actually onto the set with us. We were then able to show the director the creature on the set with a live feed from the camera into the computer. We were able to then put a dinosaur in the set and arrange the crowd around the creature. We took it a stage further by encoding the camera to the computer. So the cameraman, he was able to follow the dinosaur as it walked through the shot. So he was able to pan and tilt and have the freedom to follow a real creature. The benefit from doing that is it's a free-moving piece, and you're not stopping to a locked-off camera position every time a dinosaur walks into a shot.
The camera was not the only item synchronized to the computer.
To get humans to ride on the backs of dinosaurs, we could have put them on a standard rig that we just jigged up and down. We wanted to do something far more sophisticated than that and use the real animation of the dinosaurs. So we built like a ride simulation rig on hydraulics that would move the person exactly how the dinosaur moved.
For actor Wentworth Miller, the hardest part of making Dinotopia had nothing to do with weather or computer effects.
Actually, it was the Skybax training, which was the most challenging and the most fun.
The character of David trains to ride a Skybax, a flying pterosaur.
I think I'm in the wrong place.
It was just physically exhausting. I was riding on top of this mock Skybax machine. It would lift you up about 9 feet in the air and then throw you off. And there's footage of me getting thrown off repeatedly, and that's not the same footage repeated. That's me getting thrown off repeatedly.
I knew this was going to happen.
We've seen by now, Dinotopia is an amazing place. But what is truly amazing is the way in which many of us dinosaurs were brought to life to reveal a more human side.
Well, we have more CGI, probably 5 to 6 times as much more as Jurassic Park has, for example.
Robert Halmy boldly embarked on a 6-hour film that would depend on an unprecedented amount of computer-generated effects.
We are completing 1,700 visual effects shots, which equates to 74% of this film having some kind of CG content, which I don't think has ever been done before. I mean, our foundation for building the creatures and making them move as real animals is all based on real skeletons of real dinosaurs.
If talking to an imaginary Zippo proved difficult, how about competing with him in a game of skill?
Really, I decided that the key scene in Dinotopia should be a table tennis game.
Well, if you want to win, you're going to have to learn how to smash.
I haven't got a smash.
That's right. Like this.
Well, I will learn how to smash.
That scene was very complicated because when you're playing table tennis with a dinosaur, you have 6 different marks that you have to look at because you're running back and forth on the other side of the table. So it was probably one of the most challenging scenes I had to do.
Zippo as a co-star presented the filmmakers with their greatest challenge: how to create a fully realized computer-generated character capable of interacting with the rest of the cast believably.
Initially, we look at what's written on the script. We took illustrations from the book and came up with models of what Zippo would look like. Once we'd done that, we put the skeleton inside the virtual model and connect the two so that the skin, what we see on the outside, is manipulated by the skeleton inside.
Soon it was determined what Zippo would sound like. British comedian Lee Evans.
Please, why can't we just live in harmony?
We got some images of Lee Evans to see how they would transfer onto Zippo's head. So then we start to do some facial animation to get Zippo talking.
It's a spiritual union I don't think you quite understand yet.
However, on the set, working without Zippo proved to be slightly tricky.
The Zippo character, although it's Lee Evans' voice, we had another actor, Ross, who came in, who, poor thing, had to wear this, we call it the Zippo suit.
Basically, my job is to replace the character on camera, to give the actors an eye line, and also to develop an emotional relationship with something.
Working with Zippo's stand-in was helpful to the cast, but things became much more difficult when filming would begin and the stand-in was removed.
First time I ever had a scene like that, I had to look up at him on this cart, and they do the Zippo take, and then they took him out, and I was like totally confused. I was like, well, wait a second, isn't that guy gonna always be there?
This ambitious production took months of preparation and planning. It's an incredible television event that tells the story of an amazing world where humans and dinosaurs live together as one. A story called Dinotopia.
It's got villains, it's got heroes.
Action-packed.
It's really unbelievable.
It definitely has a classy feel to it.
It's got a little bit of romance.
And I think children will love it.
People are gonna discover a new kind of dinosaur.
It's going to look fantastic.
It's entertainment.
Something that we've never seen before.
Bigger than life. The whole feeling of Dinotopia is magical.
It has everything.